Against the Jazz. This is his 15th season. Come on.
Played every game.
This is when your athleticism is supposed to decline, but it seems like his is going up.
Oh, we haven't even showed the Nurkic one. Can we show the Nurkic one? You know we're going to show the Nurkic one.
I remember the All-Star game dunk that he caught backwards. Yep. I was like, whoa.
He also hit a 30-footer yesterday to win the game, basically.
All right, so again, LeBron is doing all of this in his 15th year in the league. That has literally never been done before. He is putting up better numbers in some categories than he did in his MVP award years. So last night, our Brian Windhorst emails me, and he's talking about how crazy it is that there's no real way to recognize this, right? Because of the year that James Harden's had, you kind of have to give him MVP. And I have to tell you guys, I almost dropped my phone. I was so excited because I got to type in back, aha! Are you, Brian Windhorst, coming around to my campaign that the NBA needs to do what the NFL does, needs to do what hockey does, and have 2 awards, one for best season, which would, of course, go to James Harden, and, hey, one for just who's the best player in the NBA. And Brian said...
Rachel, last year when you were doing this, I supported you, but I really wasn't invested in it. But I supported you. I can't in good conscience not vote for James Harden for MVP. He meets all the criteria. He absolutely should have my vote. But I am having difficulty with not honoring LeBron James some way. And I would also look back. He's not going to win the MVP this year. It will have been 5 years since he won his last MVP. And he has been the best player in the league over those 5 years. I don't think there's any question about that. How can we, as voters, how can we look at ourselves in a historical context and say that we have not given LeBron James an MVP in this 5-year stretch? And I have to agree with you, Rachel. I have to say we need to have 2 awards.
Oh, my God! Wait! I'm sorry. He wasn't on camera when he said that. We got to replay it.
This goes back to when Michael Jordan played. Michael Jordan could have got MVP every single year for his last 10 years in the league.
That is the point.
And the same thing we're seeing with LeBron. I mean, his MVP, these numbers are crazy. They could be MVP worthy any given year, but he's went up against historic seasons. You got to understand, 3 years ago when Steph, they won 73 games. You're dealing with his stats and the 73-win team. Last year, Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double. This year, James Harden has just been out of his mind playing. So, I mean, James... He's in the conversation every single year. I mean, look at the stats, don't lie. But when you got guys putting up huge stats and putting up more wins, it's hard not to give it to these other guys.
This is what we do in the NBA. We're progressive, and we say that when there's something that needs to be corrected, we say that.
You just want to give LeBron all these awards.
No, I can't. Listen, if I voted for LeBron for MVP, I would get eviscerated.
In any other year, these numbers he's put up over the last 3-4 years are MVP. But like I said, he's went against historic seasons. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I think the key point here, and Paul, I do hear what you're saying, and I hear that a lot. Oh, you guys just want to give LeBron a bunch of awards. You brought up the Michael Jordan point. That is kind of the point. Michael Jordan was a transcendent, dominant player for such a long period, and it wasn't marked by the MVPs. LeBron James has been a dominant player and has been getting better maybe in this last couple years. That is not marked by the MVPs. So the system doesn't seem to be set up to sort of recognize who is the best player in the NBA. And again, other leagues have done this. The NFL says who's the best offensive player, who's having the best offensive statistical year. The NHL, who's got the scoring title, and that's different from who is the best player in the league. The NBA needs to not even be progressive, catch up on this.
I mean, right now,
say, hey,
like, James Harden is the best player right now. I mean, he's leading the league in scoring.
If you were on the playground and you had to pick one guy to win one game and be in your pickup teams and all the NBA players were there, would you pick James Harden over LeBron James right now?
I can't pick James Harden or LeBron because LeBron is a proven winner.
There we go.
You know, until James gets to that level, I mean, of course it's LeBron. Of course. I mean, I'm going off his track record. He has 3 championships.
There you go.
The
this is not a participation trophy. This isn't just let's give out more awards because we feel bad. This is, hey, these are 2 different things here. We are talking about 2 different things. To lump them all into one award doesn't make sense.
I just feel like I defend my votes for Steve Nash for when he won MVP. I still feel good about those, even though people say this. 10 years from now, when people say, how did LeBron not win an MVP between 2013 and 2018, I'm not going to have an answer
Yes, you are, because you're going to look into the camera and say,
I think we may need 2 awards.
woo! I'm knocking them down one by one, people. Zach Lowe, you're next. All right, John Wall returned to full contact practice Saturday. Boy, the Wizards need him. Yesterday, they lost to the Knicks, who are trying to lose basketball games. Wall said, meanwhile, this morning in meeting with reporters, this is crazy, guys. He lost 10 or 15 pounds during his rehab without intending to. No timetable quite for his return, but it feels close. Paul, what are the Wizards? I mean, how big a deal is it when he comes back?
It's a huge deal because you don't have a player that you can count on outside of like Bradley Beal. You got Otto Porter, but the rest of these guys, they don't get the ball. They don't get consistent minutes to be as consistent as John Wall. When you got 2 guys out there, your backcourt, you can count on every night, and you're missing one of them, and one is your superstar, all-star, starter player, it's tough to have any kind of consistency. I mean, this guy dictates everything they do on offense. Yeah, they got off to a good start when he went down, but over the course of so many games, it's only going to last so long without your best player.
They need another closer, because as good as they've been sharing the ball and playing, good team basketball.
Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal has to be the guy.
And he's not.
He has to be the guy.
And it's not been going well.
Well, he has to be that guy. I mean,
it would help if they still had a guy who could hit shots from the elbow, but you left him after a year. But they don't have that now. And even though John Wall's numbers in the clutch aren't great, Bradley Beal has struggled delivering under pressure in so many close games, and we know in the playoffs they're going to come down to those last minutes. Regardless of what happens in the first 44 minutes of a game, they need John Wall in the last 4 minutes of these games to help Bradley Beal. And I believe when he gets back, we'll see a difference.
Paul, time is getting a little short, though. Obviously, only 10, 12 games left for a lot of these teams. And the Wizards, in particular, have a bunch of back-to-backs in the last part of their schedule, and there's the feeling he might not play all of those. Right. How much time does John need to work himself in? Right now, it's a Wizards-Cavaliers matchup in the first round.
It's going to take him in the playoffs, because he's not going to get enough games to get his legs all the way back or get in the game shape. So they're going to have to try to find a way to extend the first-round series to where he can say, all right, by game 3 or 4, he's getting a good rhythm then if he doesn't play the rest of these games out.
It's going to be very interesting.
Could be Celtics Wizards in the first round.
Oh.
Good old-fashioned.
No bad blood there. I want to take a minute to highlight how the NBA touched on some pretty huge events around the country this weekend. There was the March for Our Lives that students from Parkland, Florida organized. Carmelo Anthony donated money and transportation to help 4,500 kids from his native Baltimore attend the rally. Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union similarly helped kids from Wade's native Chicago. And the Players Union as a whole also donated a big chunk of money. Ben Simmons wore a March T-shirt during warm-ups, and Greg Popovich was, as usual, eloquent and powerful in adding his voice to call for change. And then there is Sacramento. On Thursday night, protesters who were just devastated by the police shooting of Stephon Clark disrupted the Kings game. And instead of being upset about how his business was impacted or coming out with some milquetoast statement, owner Vivek Ranadive did something remarkable. He got on the court and he talked about the shooting. He empathized with the family in a way that made you feel like he actually understood how horrible this was for them. He was supportive of the protesters, and he vowed to be a part of changing things. Then yesterday, players on both the Kings and Celtics wore shirts not just remembering Clark, but demanding accountability. The team also released a video asking for the same thing. It's interesting. I've had people ask me all year, how come we haven't seen NBA players protesting for civil rights during games, national anthems, the way we have with NFL players? And my answer is that the NFL players have been doing that to try to get some attention for causes that are otherwise being ignored in a league that's treating what's going on in our world as just business as usual. NBA players don't have to do that. The league is giving these issues the attention they deserve all the time, keeping them in the conversation, sometimes directly on the court itself. This weekend was a moving example of that, and one everyone involved in the NBA can be proud of.